if Qigong is so great and all this research is showing positive results, why isn't everyone doing it? Secondly, okay, let's say that it is this great and I accept that. How does it get the results that it does get? Is this scientific? Is this valid? Can this be borne out in study, and can it be repeated? Could one person get results and an independent person doing the same set, if you will, get the same results? I am a Tai Chi practitioner. I am a Qigong practitioner, but first and foremost, in my day job, I am a researcher, and it is in an area of science, and I do not accept like claims easily or quickly without some sort of verifiable or validatable evidence to go with them. And not only do I think that's important just for being able to do something, but in order to get buy-in on my time and something I want to do, I need a little bit of information so that I understand that this isn't crockery and where it comes from. Qigong, I have to say that one of its detriments, unlike joining a CrossFit class, is that the next day you may not feel that different. There's not a lot of physiological immediate feedback, like you just worked out and you're totally sore. Additionally, oftentimes it's done solitarily and you don't have a group to bounce information off of. So one aspect of it that becomes difficult is that we may not get to see the benefits immediately. So in saying that, we need some truth, some facts around why this is developed. We know it's been around for 1,500 to 2,000 years, and that there's huge bodies and groups that do Qigong, but how are they getting these benefits? So that when practice gets boring, which it does for those of you that are practitioners, or when you're just ramping up and working with Qigong and you haven't built your sensitivity to the development far enough along to where it's palpable and you actually feel it, we need something to keep us in the game for a while. So in saying that, how does Qigong get the results that it does? How does it improve our sleep? How does it repair the body? How does it cause us to heal? I'm going to share with you a handful of slides on how science is more importantly getting overlapped over these Qigong sets. So our lymphatic system, this is a network of tissues and organs that help us get rid of the body's waste and unwanted materials. The primary function is to transport lymph, fluid, infection-fighting blood cells throughout the body. So an interesting thing about the lymphatic system is that it doesn't have its own series of pumps. So how does it move this stuff around? It's not like our bloods and our arterial and venous system. It's not like our muscles. It's got one-way valves basically, and it moves the stuff based on our steps and pounding and bouncing. Like running, that can make you healthy related to your lymph system. So a really good Qigong set includes some sort of bouncing, thumping, or pounding. Or if you want, there's a craze that's been getting more and more popular called rebounding. And basically, people have identified this as being beneficial. And you too can bounce on a trampoline, or you can just do a Qigong set. So this isn't as crazy as you think. If you think about nervous people, yourself or someone else, and tapping your hands or shaking your arms or bouncing on your heels, what do you do when you have something caught in your throat, right? You thump your chest, your thymus, or your clavicle with your hands. In essence, it's an innate response for you to thump your body in order to cause and to help the lymphatic system. Second one, blood cell production from the bones. So bone marrow, lot of research on stem cells, right? Well, the way our body develops its own cells in red blood cells and white blood cells, it's in the bone and it's in the bone marrow, the spongy portions of these. And where are our biggest bones? Primarily our pelvis, like you see in this image, and in our hips and in our femurs, right? So these are the big bones within our body. And a good Qigong set puts pressure on the large bones, basically think of yourself in a standing posture that you're about to sit in a stool. So not something that's going to make your legs quake like a low Marshall stance, but something to put the weight on your bones to raise your body heat and innervate this bone marrow. So again, going back to the 6th century AD, Bodhidharma taught 3 sets of Qigong. It's purported that he taught 3 sets, one of which focused straight on bone marrow cleansing. And there's one of the original classics, Muscle Tendon Washing and Bone Marrow Cleansing Classic. I hope I got that right. Sometimes I get that backwards. But in essence, it's a focus on stress, putting stress and pressure and cleansing of the bones so that they can then use the marrow to produce new cells. Again, thankfully, breathing and breath work has been becoming part of the norm. And an example is square breathing. What it is it's a style of breathing where you breathe in for 4 seconds, you hold for 4 seconds, you breathe out for 4 seconds, you hold for 4 seconds. 3 to 4 rounds of this can cause you to calm down. So then, and this is one of many different sets that are popular now. This one was made, the square breathing, box breathing it's been called. This was made really popular by a book about United States Special Forces and the use of this breathing style with firing a weapon. Basically, what's happening is that the vagus nerve, which is located in our brain, vagus is Greek, I believe, for wandering, vagal, vagus, and it's in charge of the parasympathetic nervous system. So it can turn on your fight or flight, or it can turn that off. And a unique aspect of the system, the stress system, is that the body in essence monitors the amount of oxygen and CO2 that you have in your body to determine what state it's in and what's appropriate. So when we're stressed, there's more oxygen in the blood, and our breath is shorter to hyperoxygenate the blood, right? In case we have to run or in case we have to do something heroic. And when we're stressed, we're primarily using the upper chest for breathing. So by doing that style of breathing, which you may do just from stressing out at work, you're putting yourself in a heightened nervous system. So a good Qigong set that's been developed right knows about this and does the exact opposite, where it slows down the breathing and holds, and it breathes very, very long, sometimes for long counts, and it utilizes the entire frame. So basically all the way down into the stomach, all the way up into the lungs. And by doing this, we can turn off the fight or flight response and return ourselves to something calm. Blood pressure. So huge in the Western world with diseases related to high blood pressure. So normal blood pressure equals low risk of stroke, kidney disease, and heart disease. And there's many of studies that have gone in this specific direction, linking Qigong to lower blood pressure. So I have to point out that the studies that I saw in the subjects that had high blood pressure and were on medication, they continued to take their medication. So this isn't permission to get off your medication. However, if you're able to bring your blood pressure down and revisit with your doctor to make that decision, that's great. Qigong accomplishes this with a range of different things. Here's 3. So the breathing patterns themselves slow down and reduce our heart rate to calm us down and therefore reduce pressure. There are spiraling movements. So what I mean by spiraling movements, just as an example, if you hold your hand up and you turn your arm all the way one way, and then you turn it all the way the other way as though you're wringing your forearm out like a wet towel. Basically, proper use of movement is going to wring the body out and cause kind of a wringing down on the blood vessels and the muscles, and then a wringing out of it, and basically creating a rhythmic massage, if you will, for these things. Circular movement. So if you bring your hands together, travel it up in front of you, straight up over your head, and then waterfall out to the side. Basically, you're circling your body and you're using your arms as billows to pumps within your body in a slow manner. And then lastly, fascial and postural instruction. So The fascia is that thin, clear stuff that wraps around the muscles. And your posture being upright requires you to rely less on your muscles. So if you look at a cross section of your muscles, it's obvious that all the blood vessels run through your muscles, right? So if we're standing erect and not leaning over and causing our muscles to work, and we're relying on the fascia, the structure of ourselves to hold us up and to move with the muscles can then relax, putting less pressure on the blood vessels and making them work less. So how to say this gently? So I've seen really, really amazing Qigong sets performed really poorly on videos on the internet. And basically the movements and the series of movement is done correctly, but it's devoid of anything that would develop internal strength. So using the example that I just had where the hands come up in front of you, go over your head and kind of go down. I've seen that performed to someone who's bending forward so their posture is bad and there's no circular movement of their hands. So the palms are facing the video the whole time like they're watching the screen, versus when you begin in that move, the backs of your hands are together in front of your sternum. Think of like a reverse prayer hand. And as you push up, they turn around, then they're facing the ceiling. And then if you push with your middle finger, they arc down and your palms are facing away from you. So your arms are swiveling the whole time. And it matches the movement of your legs where you might pull up with the inside of your thighs, which bring your knee together gently a little bit, and then move them out. Your thigh muscles are also spiraling. So the same move done online with a set, and then everyone says, oh, that Qigong set's horrible, I don't get anything from it. Or they tried and it just doesn't work, and they say, oh, that thing called Qigong doesn't work. Well, to be honest, it could be the instruction that isn't tapping into the correct movement to get the benefits. We hear a lot about deep sleep. I want to talk about that, but I also want to talk about restful waking, which I think is as important but doesn't get any press. So if we sleep really deeply, we can support like short-term thinking, long-term thinking, and just overall learning. If you've had a good night's sleep, you know this to be true. If you've had a bad night's sleep, you also know the opposite to be true. And this gives our pituitary glands and the other things that are in charge of growth hormone chance to clean up the body, clean everything out, and heal. So a good Qigong set, which there are many that focus on sleep, thanks to the thousands of years and hours, the work by mostly Taoist practitioners, that you can use Qigong to put yourself in a supreme state prior to falling to sleep, to have great sleep during the night. A good Qigong set moves throughout the body in much of the same way and can put you in a really good state 5 to 8 minutes prior to sleeping. So that's one half. How about restful waking? Think about when you were a child and shot out of bed on Saturday morning because there was a fresh snowfall or because it was cartoon day, and how relaxed and how flexible you were and just ready to hit it. This was pre-coffee, right? Well, what if you could get back to that in 8 minutes, 6 minutes? So I wanted you to think of when in the morning are you peak performance? Is it 9:30? Is it 9? Is it 2 hours after you get up? Kind of mull around, you get your coffee, get some water, then you get breakfast, then you get to the office, and then, by 9:30 you're raring to go. Well, Qigong in the morning has the capability of shortening that window to put you in that really good, feel-good state pretty darn quickly. And just in terms of work productivity and the amount of time I've gained back from family time, because I'm not all stressed out in the morning when my family might be getting ready and going out the door. We don't get to see each other that much when we're going to work. So those 5, 10, 15 minutes, if I'm calm and chilled out and looking forward to them and in a good place, it's amazing. If I'm heading into work and immediately coming up with best idea for a new product or brainstorming, or if I'm using that morning window to write content and I've already gotten there by 7:38 rather than 9:30, think of the productivity and just the happiness and the amount of time I can get in and still work my full day and get home and still have some fuel left in the tank for my family.